Hey everybody, this is Carol from RV Inspection Specialists. I just wanted to touch base and kind of give you all a little update as to what we've been doing lately. A couple months ago, my husband and I picked up a 1973 Shasta, which was completely torn down by the prior gentleman who was trying to rebuild it, but I think got in a little deeper than he originally anticipated and gave up on the project. So we decided to purchase it and use it as an opportunity to rebuild a vintage trailer, and are really excited on the project. We've been working on it for a couple of weeks on and off, kind of in the planning stages, but we actually just got down to really getting into the nitty-gritty of things. We feel that we've got the final layout kind of zeroed in, and we're raring to go. So this is our center of operations. As you can see, this is where we store all of our tools and a lot of our equipment for doing our mobile RV repairs and our inspections. So this is kind of our, like I said, our operations center. As you can see, there's our whiteboard, which right now is dedicated merely to the trailer itself. And then of course, as you can see on our conference table, we have a ton of products and materials. A lot of that is also for the trailer. I just recently did some product testing and evaluations for a kit that's going to be offered to some folks that subscribe to an online magazine. As you know, I do some writing for another company, do all sorts of RV education and that sort of stuff. So they sent me a package of materials to kind of check out and test, and that's some of that. And then of course there's some customer parts back there for a project that I'm working on for an actual client. But anyhow, this is some of our workspace here, and again, tools, equipment, and RV parts and that sort of stuff. But let me take you in to see the Shasta itself. You'll have to bear with me with the mess, as we got this Shasta in about 1 million pieces. As you can see down there is all the metal trim and J-rail and bunk rail and that sort of stuff. And of course the rolled up piece is the roof, which is in very poor condition, especially since the way that it was rolled up, it was not done properly. And then off to the side there is actually the front cap metal, which is in pretty poor condition. Not sure if I'm going to be able to restore that piece or not. I'm going to give it a try before ordering new metal. But anyhow, this is the 1973 Shasta, and as you can see, it has absolutely no skin on it whatsoever. There's some insulation board that the gentleman was going to use, but it's much too thin and it's very damaged and very brittle, and so we're going to either give that away or recycle it or something, but we're not going to use that on our project. We're going to use the right kind of insulation on this. So, but I had to put a new trailer jack on it to be able to wheel it around in our workshop here. And so that gives us the ability to rotate this 360 degrees because we have the tires on dollies. But anyhow, on this cart here is a lot of the cabinetry. One of the, this is all cabinetry for kitchen. It has one of the countertops on it for the dinette area, but it has all the original side panels and seats and that sort of stuff, which we will be using as templates primarily, and then all of the wood and all of that stuff is going to go in the trash. All of the metal trim we're going to try to rehab and reuse, and then whatever we cannot reuse we will order new from Vintage Trailer. We have a bunch of our new wood recently purchased, and that will be used in structure for cabinets and closets and that sort of stuff. A couple sheets of plywood back there, which we'll be using for seat benches and that sort of stuff. But anyhow, the gentleman that we bought this off of tried to replace a lot of the wood, and in doing so he did what's called pocket hole system. and he left all of the pocket holes wide open, so we decided that we would come in and glue plugs in to give it a little bit more strength. So we've already gone ahead and done that to all the areas that he pocket holed, and then we sanded them down flush. You will see along this side here we still have some water damage that we have to address, which we will be taking care of. This is what a pocket hole looks like when it's not filled. So we've just started doing some of the structure planning around here, so we'll be working on that. But we've test fitted some of the metal panels just to get a gist for what goes where, and also to see the overall condition of it. As you can see, they're very, very rough. I believe Jim is going to take them outside today and he's going to do some pressure washing, but we've got to get all that butyl and stuff off, because it's we need new adhesive and everything around doors and window openings. So all of that sticky stuff has to come off. And of course we're going to try to salvage as many of the original emblems as possible. We have some wood rot around this doorway which we have to address, in particular down here in this area. So we need to do some work on that. And I've started to test fit some of the interior. The gentleman that had the trailer actually put a new floor in. He used a 3/4 piece plywood, which really isn't the thickness of what was original. I believe what was original was probably more of a 1/2 inch. And so none of the interior actually still fits. So what I have been doing is kind of recreating the pieces, and I'm going to be using them as a template. So right now these are all the old pieces that I've kind of trimmed down for height and setting them in place and temporarily, and then I will be removing them and refabricating with new wood, because there was a lot of damage to this trailer, water damage, and so the wood in particular down at the bottom where it was touching the rotten floor is rotted, and so it's very soft, and I want this trailer to last a very long time for somebody. Also, the gentleman that had this before did a lot of the interior finishing. I have to say that it was not done very nicely in a lot of spots, so we're going to try to fix as much of that as possible. I'm going to try not to have to remove all the paneling. So you know, we've already had to straighten the front cabinet because it was installed way off. And this cabinet, the side panels actually look pretty atrocious. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. But he also used a bazillion staples on it, and so they're going to show through. So I have to make a decision, or an executive decision, as to how I want to finish the cabinets, and haven't quite decided on that yet. The original thought was to do staining on the interior. However, I think with the amount of staples and where the seams and all of that stuff lies in here, it was poor planning on his part, and I think I'm going to have to end up painting the interior, which I'm really upset about, because I thought the stained interior would go much better with the year of the coach. But we'll see that as we progress. Then we have a ton of lighting and stuff that we have to do. We have to run all the electrical, all the plumbing. We have to build all of the kitchen cabinetry and such. And the back end was never finished, so there's a lot of wood structure back there that we need to do to that as well. I'm just going to kind of bring you guys around. It has what appears to be the original axle. It has really old tires on it. I don't know how long it's been since the bearings and everything have been repacked. You can see that tire there is actually up on a dolly so that we can move it around. We can turn this thing 360 degrees, and that's me stepping on some of our metal, which I need to get out of here so that we can clean up. But anyhow, so coming around the back, one of the things I discovered last night when I was crawling around underneath to kind of assess what was going on is I actually found that there was an inner rigger completely missing on this. So this back end, I would say the last 2.5, 3 feet of this trailer has practically nothing supporting it. So I need to get some metal angle iron and refabricate an inner rigger and an outrigger to support the back end of the trailer. But as you can see back here, there's absolutely no structure whatsoever. This used to be the dinette, or not the dinette, the rear gaucho couch made into a bed, and then there was a trunk space back here with a cargo door that opened. So we have to basically reframe all of that. There's no framing up here in the top area at all, no structure, no support. So we have to do that as well. So we've got a lot of work yet to do. I'm going to bring you on this side so you can kind of get a gist for what the wood side looks like. So there's that. Look at all them pocket holes. That's a lot of pocket holes. And so, yeah, we started to fill them and fill them and fill them, and Jim was working on that side yesterday, so he did this whole area here and filled all those. So those still need to be sanded, but once they're sanded, that actually makes a nice smooth piece of board. I have some structure here where the wood is actually split from age, so I actually have a structural epoxy that I can inject into that at several locations that will give some strength to this. Or I can go ahead and replace that board, but you know, we'll decide that as we kind of finalize the side. You can see they used an aluminum wire as a ground. We're going to remove that and actually put copper in. I don't like aluminum wiring even as a ground. I believe that the copper is a better conductor, but you know, again, we'll see as we move along. So I'm going to probably put a new axle in because the amount of extra wood that's going into this trailer structure and everything else, we're probably going to need to beef that up. Right now it's only rated at like 1,700 pounds. I'm probably going to put a 3,500 pound axle on this, and it doesn't need a 3,500 pound axle, but the 3,500 pound axle is more commonly available. And we will be able to have them custom camber it, so they can put half camber on that axle so that it doesn't need to be loaded to 3,500 pounds for the rating. But I'm working on that and hopefully get some parts here soon for it. I might do a video episode on replacing the axle and leaves, but as you can see, I don't have very much headroom in here in the shop, so I can't jack the trailer up too far. So I may need to wait on the axle until the end, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, so that's it for today. I just wanted to kind of give you an overview. Today I'm going to be working on the interior, framing that up, and getting the interior done, because I'd like to get the metal skin on the outside of this thing while we still have warm temperatures. That stuff needs to be installed when it's like 80 degrees or higher, so being that it's October, we're running into, or September, excuse me, we're going to be running into some cooler temperatures, and I want to try to get the skin on before October or before the end of October while we have some warm days. All right, that's it for today. Talk to you soon.